And now, welcome back to the Cisco TV studio, and here we are, and now the topic is security, right? So I think security is really top of mind of each and every customer of ours, considering a lot of the latest breaches, attacks that are happening. You open up a newspaper every day and you see a company getting breached, right? So today we've got Bobby Guha-Sakar, who is our Senior Director for Security here at Cisco. Hi, Bobby. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Thanks. So could you tell me more about how Cisco could help our customers in finding the threats and responding to them, right? So
Sure.
Obviously we do a lot of things in prevention, but as we see in the market, it's not like prevention doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is 100%. You still very much need it.
Yeah.
But what happens next, right? And I think that's detection and response. What do we do there? What are the exciting things there?
Sure. I think if you take a step back, first of all, if you look at threats in general, 99% of the threats that people need to block are actually known already, right? So very few of the threats are actually unknown, right? But people don't even get around to blocking the known stuff, right? And then even when it is blocked, there's an alert that comes up, and then most of the alerts aren't even investigated, right? So there's a set of problems that kind of compound each other. And if you're a security analyst, if you work at the SOC, the problem is really that there's too much information. There's too much data coming at you from too many systems. What do you prioritize? What do you work on, right? So Cisco, as you may or may not know, over the last 5 years, we've invested over $7 billion in security startups and security companies. So we've built this large portfolio going across different parts of the network, the endpoint, different types of cloud gateways, and so on. Now the challenge is that how do we take all the alerts that come from these systems and actually make sense out of it? So when we give it to a human being to work on, it's actually the most important alert. It's something that should go to a human being, right? And so,
right, yeah.
And it's a brand new product we've been working on. It's called Cisco Threat Response. And what Cisco Threat Response is, it's an application. It's an application to help human beings do investigations and remediation. So we take alerts that come in from endpoints, we take alerts that could potentially come in from firewalls, and then we put it together, and then we bubble up and show you what's important. And then we also have remediation that's built in, because all of our products have APIs.
Right, yes.
So this product leverages those APIs in order to, for example, block a domain in Umbrella, or for example, to block a piece of malware in the endpoint product, right?
Right. So it does sound like kind of intelligent SIEM. Would you comment on that?
Sure. So a SIEM is a application that takes all logs, all alerts from the entire infrastructure, right? So we're not doing that because a SIEM is really about data management. So taking, terabytes and terabytes of information and then
potentially with a lot of noise.
A lot of noise and then getting something out of that. Here what we're trying to do is to go one step beyond that. We're trying to say, okay, so in the Cisco infrastructure, what are the alerts that are coming in, and then try to correlate the important ones, and then just give you the ones that you need to work on. So what this will do for a SIEM is we can actually give that to a SIEM as well.
Right.
So that we actually provide, we provide the SIEM with a far fewer number of things, so that the SIEM actually becomes much more intelligent as well. So if a customer's got a SIEM, great. If the customer doesn't have a SIEM, this is great as well.
So with APIs, we can then potentially feed data into and feed data out of it as well.
Exactly. Everything's API based. It's modern software, right?
And it also then would be correlating, the events with external intelligence, I suppose.
That's a great point. So threat intelligence, what is threat intelligence? It's basically, it's a list of IP addresses, it's a list of malware, it's a list of domains, and it's a list of those that are bad, right? So obviously we have amazing threat intelligence in the company. Talos is the name of our organization that does a lot of the research, collects the threat intelligence, we push it to all of our products, right? In Cisco Threat Response, we can leverage that threat intelligence. We can also bring in a lot of third-party threat intelligence. So things like virus total, or
Right, virus total. Wow, interesting.
and or you can get feeds, threat feeds that are standard-based threat feeds. You can bring that in as well, and it'll automatically correlate and give you it takes you further down in the investigation because it looks at other sources of data before it says, hey, this is important to work on.
Right, sounds extremely interesting. I think Cisco Threat Response would definitely help a lot of my customers. They are kind of struggling with this information overload, and this idea of getting the right data at the right time, just right at your fingertips, sounds amazing.
The best part about it, it's free.
Wow, free? No way. Are you kidding me?
Which isn't common for Cisco, but I mean, we have made this product completely free of charge. So any customer that has Cisco endpoints, Cisco Umbrella, Cisco Network Security can take advantage of this right away. So it's available today. You can download it, you can enable it, you can use it right away.
Amazing, amazing. That really does sound great. And maybe any comment you'd give on, machine learning and security, because, I think, as you mentioned, there's so much data. So is it something that Cisco Threat Response would also use, or maybe the products behind it that are feeding these events?
Yeah. So machine learning is used across the Cisco portfolio, right? So wherever we have a lot of data coming in, like let's say, for example, StealthWatch. StealthWatch is our product that takes in network data and then looks for behavior and then anomalies in that behavior. So StealthWatch uses a lot of machine learning. Within our endpoint is looking at variability in samples or variability in files, and then seeing which of those files are malicious or not, right? Again, uses automated learning to do that. We use learning in our malware sandbox, where there's millions and millions of new files that come out every day. Human beings can't actually go through all of those and determine if it's good or bad. Right? So we use it there as well. We use machine learning in Umbrella. So Umbrella is looking at literally hundreds of billions of DNS requests every day. How do we correlate the ones that are known bad or likely bad in looking at a particular domain? So machine learning is used throughout the portfolio, and it's really a tool. Machine learning doesn't mean that the product is better. It's really a tool, and it's a tool that you use when you have lots and lots of data to go through.
Sounds great. Well, Bobby, thank you so much for being with us here in Cisco TV Studio. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
It's been great input from you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we've got Rob at the World of Solutions. Rob, over to you.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, we are here in the security booth talking, that's right, security. And who better if I introduce my good friend now? We just met each other, but Ben Greenbaum, you were walking everybody through. I had a little bit of trouble getting in here because customers keep coming up and wanting to interrupt us and understand more about what you're doing, and I love how we're fleshing stuff to the surface. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're doing with threat response these days?
Sure, you showed up just in time. I was just about to start doing an investigation into some information that we have about Drydex. I'm going to look here at the Talos blog, and I'm going to go all the way down to the IOC section. And I'm going to grab all of the indicators of compromise from the bottom of this blog article and just select them. Just select them, right-click on them, and using the Cisco Threat Response plugin for Google Chrome that we just released, I'm going to extract all of the observables out of this piece of information. I'm then going to pivot directly into Cisco Threat Response with these observables loaded as the subject of the investigation that I'm doing. Now you can see right now, it is doing research on those observables. It is finding out what we know about them from all of the different modules that I have configured here in Cisco Threat Response. I've got my Umbrella accounts, I've got Threat Grid, I've got AMP for endpoints, and we can see that from this information, I have local targets. There are machines in my environment that for whatever reason have talked to these IPs that I'm looking for, these files that I'm looking for. I can immediately take some kind of response actions on some of this information as well. This, you can see, is already known to be malicious by our infrastructure, but if it wasn't, I could easily click here, pivot into AMP for endpoints, and add it to a block list, as simple as that, with just a couple of clicks. And that's really the power and the strength of the Cisco Threat Response platform. It's an integration platform that brings in intelligence and response capabilities from all of your Cisco investments across your entire network. This is the Cisco integrated security architecture at work through the Cisco Threat Response platform.
All right, so I'm just guessing, Ben, that you've been down this path before. You're an extremely good speaker, and I love how you got it. Just to confirm, okay, so obviously you're making a lot of things more visible. You're talking about real-time awareness of things that are happening and then being able to act upon that. Now, you first started that off by grabbing some key indicators from a website. Now, what was the deal with that website? I didn't catch how we were starting that.
That website was the Talos blog, an excellent source of threat intelligence and just information about all kinds of security threats that our advanced Talos research team discovers and analyzes on a regular basis. But the website could have been anything at all. It could have been any source of threat intelligence. It could have been an FS-ISAC release. It could have been a government release. It could have been information that you found in the web-based dashboard of any security products or any other kind of provider of security threat intelligence. You can pivot using the threat response website plugin for Chrome, or web browser plugin for Chrome. You can pivot directly into threat response with information from anything that can be rendered in your browser.
I love that. Ben, that is so awesome, because not only are we coordinating information from multiple sources beyond ourselves, because I think, not to miss the story, that actually Talos is a key source of a lot of that real-time information from around the world. We're going to have to run now, but thank you very much. I appreciate this. Great information, guys. Get a chance to come over to the security booth. If you can catch Ben, even better, but there's a lot of smart people here regardless, but make sure you understand how this stuff works.